Hey everyone, welcome back. I have another game review for you. This game is a 2002 release, which is Spider-Man 1, the one based off of the Spider-Man 1 movie of the same name. So if you watch the movie, there's not a whole lot to explain here, except this game came out in 2002. It has all the voice actors for the appropriate characters. Tobey Maguire voices Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man. Kirsten Dunst voices Mary Jane Watson. William Dafoe voices Norman Osborn, aka the Green Goblin, etc. However, there are other villains in this game too. I know I'm kind of going kind of quick here, but if you watched the movie, then there's really not that much to explain, except for the additions, obviously. Because if the Green Goblin was the only villain, then the game would be rather boring, okay? Quite honestly, the additional villains are the Shocker, the Vulture is one, and whatnot, and of course the Green Goblin's in here too, obviously, because he was in the movie. And yeah, now this game is really fun. Now I have the Spider-Man 2 and 3 based on the movies for the PlayStation 2 as well. This game is different from them. Those games are more like the open world sandbox type of game, where this game it takes you directly from mission to mission, and when you're done, there is no free roaming. That's probably one of the few complaints I can think of with this game. Oh, and the difficulty. This game is hard as shit, okay? Seriously. Now, luckily I'm a hardcore gamer, so I was able to go all the way through this, and I was able to play this enough to where I could actually beat it. But for the casual gamer, they might get pissed off by this game's difficulty. It is really hard. However, despite that's not enough to take it away from me, because I am a hardcore Spider-Man fan. I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero. Alright, I loved all three of the movies, and this game follows the first movie rather well, despite the additional villains, obviously, which, as I already mentioned, if they didn't have additional villains in this game, it would be boring. But despite that, it did follow the movie okay, I guess. I mean, there was an additional plot with Osborn or with Oscorp that wasn't in the movie, but I enjoyed it. Because this game is a prime example that games do not have to follow their movie counterparts exactly to be good. It's about the gameplay when it comes to a game, not the story. I mean, in some games the gameplay helps create, or the story helps create the gameplay, and obviously in a Spider-Man game that's no more apparent, but still, it's about the gameplay, and the gameplay is really fun. Now, if you played, I believe it was Spider-Man Friend or Foe, which I also have on the PS2, since a lot of the gameplay is rather reminiscing to that. You get the web swing is rather similar, or not the web swing, but the melee combat is rather similar, and you get your web dome, and you can tie people up. It's all really the same as the as Spider-Man Friend or Foe. I think it was that game. I know it's the same as Spider-Man 1 for the PlayStation 1, but I want to say it's the same as Spider-Man Friend or Foe. I haven't played that game in a while, but it is a hell of fun. Now, as I mentioned before, one of the a slight downside, I guess, is the difficulty, because this game is hard as shit, and unless you are such a good gamer where you can play through a game like this and beat it through the first try, or you're just a hardcore gamer like me and you can play games for hours on end to try to figure out how to beat them, this game probably won't be for you. I mean, unless you're such a hardcore Spider-Man fan that even without being a hardcore gamer, you really don't care and you just want to play it, then I'd say don't pick this game up because you will be pissed at it. You will possibly break your disc. I'm not even kidding. I almost did several times. And I have broken 2 controllers playing this game, okay? I break controllers all the time playing games. I broke 2 of them with this one game. That rarely ever happens. I mean, I break them all the time while playing games, but 2 with one game rarely ever happens with me. The only other time that happened I can think of off the top of my head was when I first played Jak 2. Now, this game isn't as hard as Jak 2. Don't get me wrong, it's not. I broke 3 controllers playing Jak 2. At least. But, yeah, so this game isn't nearly as hard as Jak 2, but it's still pretty difficult. And the other downside I have to say is that, as I mentioned before, there's really no free roam, alright? The game takes you from mission to mission, and when you're all done with the game, there is no free roam. And whatnot. And also, there's not a huge variety in attacks. Spider-Man 2 and 3 definitely fixed that problem, but, you know, it doesn't take you very long to actually get used to fighting in this game. Now, obviously, for the bosses, you don't just go up and beat them up. There's a bit of a different method when you're fighting bosses. You know, they're not like random thugs, obviously, where you just go up and beat them up for the most part. You know, for the bosses, such as the Green Goblin, it's quite a bit more difficult to actually fight them, which makes it more interesting and whatnot. And I'm probably missing some. There's probably villains I didn't mention before. The only ones I can remember off the top of my head were the Green Goblin, obviously, the Shocker, and the Vulture. Yeah, but anyways, this is a really great game for any extremely hardcore Spider-Man fan, such as myself, or any hardcore gamer, or both. You know, such as myself. I'm both. Then I would highly recommend this game to you if you're not a hardcore Spider-Man fan and not a hardcore gamer. I probably can't recommend that I can't really say that you'll like this game because it's really difficult. I'm not gonna lie to you, it is. Alright, yeah, but I still really enjoyed it. So I'll give this game a 6 out of 10 because, you know, Spider-Man 1 was my least favorite of the Spider-Man movies, and this game is definitely my least favorite of the movie-based trilogy. Yeah, anyways, that's it for this game review. Rate, subscribe, to all the good stuff, and see you after, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.